Hey guys, thanks for listening to The Cynical Nerd. Please keep in mind that we do not avoid spoilers for any of our topics, whether they are current or past media. Listen at your own risk.
I'm trying not to talk about any of the things today that FT said.
Right, give them the satisfaction. Yeah.
Make up. So happy to report, kids aren't sick, so fuck you, one off the list.
Yeah.
We're both single men tonight.
We're single men.
That's how that works. I mean,
Yeah.
Don't worry, nothing's gonna happen because I'm lazy and I like to be home by myself. But
yeah,
no kids, nowhere. It's quiet. It's weird. I don't like it actually.
I really don't like it. Mine are also at it. It's weird that we're experiencing this at the same time. Veronica and Odin, you know this, but I have to talk to the other people who might be listening. You know, they're on vacation. They're in the Outer Banks. There was 2 family vacations planned this summer. Very nice. Good for you. Mine are in the fridge. If I start too early, I just go to bed early, and then I feel like I missed my whole night. And because I got the hip surgery, I only have enough PTO for one of those vacations, so I'm going to the other one. So she's down there with her fam. That's FAM.
Fam.
And they're having a good time. And I hate it. I hate not having my son here because he has a cute laugh.
Yeah, hanging out with the fawn, eating some flan.
Eating some flan with the fam.
Eating some flan with the fam. Yeah, well, as a father of 2, no, I'm just kidding. I don't even know where I was going with that because there's nothing here besides that there's 2 kids I'm missing now instead of just one. I spent the day, you know what's going on with Samantha. That's not really something I'm talking about publicly.
Yeah.
Well, now that I said that, it sounds fucking terrible.
Feels like you should say something.
Yeah, she's getting a biopsy done to figure out what's going on with some uneven levels her kidneys are put down. So we don't know what's going on yet, which is why I didn't want to say anything yet.
Yeah.
Because I don't have any news, whether it be good or bad. But anyway, she's in the hospital. Everything went fine. She's just recuperating right now. They're keeping her overnight again, just for observation. But she was telling me all about the fucking hospital food she ordered, which sounds disgusting. But I hope she has a great night.
That was a great cover story. Everybody listening, Sam is actually a huge drug addict, and she's out on a massive bender right now.
She might be tonight. So I guess I don't think I ever mentioned it the first time. This is actually her second biopsy because the first one didn't give them the results they wanted. So they had to go back, which is super shitty.
Terrible.
And super inconvenient for everybody involved. But the first time she had it, she was fine. And then overnight, she had this really bad pain that came out of nowhere, and they had to give her some stuff for it. So they're ready for it this time in case it happens. And the doctor said something like, I told them, if they give you something synthetic, I don't know what it is, but she might come out of it a drug addict. If fucking...
She's going to come I kind of want to do heroin. Have you ever thought about that? Is that something? Are you interested? I'm just gauging you. I'm just kidding.
What did you give her last night? Crack cocaine out of a pipe? Is that medically sound? Would rather you have injected her with synthetic fentanyl. Anyway, so quiet house here, quiet house there. Mm-hmm. I realized that I'm not going to say what we did this weekend. So I'll just talk about it.
No, he said that we were just going to talk about how we had a good time. So what we have to do is say we had a bad time.
Well, that's not true. I'll say I didn't have a bad time. How's that? That's the loophole. But I've realized in life that I have the same sort of it's not like a fear or a phobia. It's more like an OCD tick. I concern myself with running out of things that will contribute to a good time. One of them is alcohol. Whenever I go to a party, I overbuy alcohol, end up leaving something there. That's actually why I had that super tall boy right there, because I thought, well, I'm going to have some beers tonight because I got the house to myself. I'd also like one during the podcast, but if, like you said, if I start too early, not only will I get tired and sleepy, potentially, we'll see. I'm going to tough it out.
Yeah.
For the love of the game. But if I started now and started drinking into my stash, I would not have enough later to get to the place I want to be.
Right. Too much time. Understood. It's got to be a little more concentrated.
And I realize I'm the same way when it comes to buying ammunition. I feel like I have plenty in my house to defend me and my family, and I just feel like I need to buy more.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk about how it went though, because it was
buy in bulk. It's the best way to do it.
But
I had a great time. I don't care. Fuck you, FT. We went shooting again. We went to the indoor range, or I'll use his exact words. The shoesting was super fun shoesting, or whatever the fuck he said. It was a great time. But I'm glad. I wanted to talk to you about this. I'm glad that we went and did that, because every time that we've gone to the outdoor range, I remember the one time you were like, "Oh, I was self-conscious because it looked so schlubby," or something like that. And in my head, I'm like, when he comes to the indoor range and sees how way not cool it, or way less cool, I should say, it is than being outside, I didn't want to like totally deflate you beforehand, but it's just simply not as fun. Like, you still get to shoot your gun. There's, like you said, there's some boons there. Your targets just aren't a zip line back and forth to you. Yeah. It's air conditioned, but holy shit, when you're shooting outside, the sound that your gun makes when you shoot it just goes away. It just, by the nature of just physics, it just leaves. It just keeps going away from you. When you're inside of a tube of cement and concrete, all of that sound stays in there, and it's just rattling you around physically the entire time.
Yeah, I could not hear fucking anything. Yeah. That was the biggest problem that I had, was that I felt like we were there to sign a business contract. Like, we barely got to talk. You know, I'm like, huh? Yeah, I'm gonna shoot the thing with the okay.
There were a couple times you answered a question that I didn't ask, and I was like, "All right, I give up." That's
the fucking target ranger guy, whatever his name is, range officer. Like, look, I know you got a job to do, buddy, but that first tap on the shoulder, that was for you. We know it. We understand. You were puffing your chest out. It's okay.
He said, "Let me stop this before it happens." That was his opening thing. Like, all right, okay.
Look at these two liberal cucks on me.
Look at these two brightly colored shirts they're wearing. That's how you know. That's what gives it away.
That was what I was going to say, by the way. We were walking out and I was going to say something, but as soon as you opened the door, the store was dead silent. And I almost dropped, "Look at these two liberal cucks." They probably would have cheered, right? I would have gotten like a hell yeah from behind the counter. Just to cross this off the list, who do we got this week? Nick Fury's a honey. There we go. There you go, FT. We said everything. Somebody's a honey.
We hit it all.
No, I don't know if the kids are sick though. We can't do that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is episode 106. Pick up sticks. I'm
stuck so clean. That was just effortless. It was great.
We only have one main topic, and we're gonna try to get back to like actually watching something per week besides. But it's been hectic. So we have a decent amount of trailers and some news, some casting news. Normally, I try not to cover casting stuff, but it's DC, and I like DC, and so you're gonna bear with me. And a couple cool trailers, one of which dropped today, although I don't know if I'd use the word cool for that one, and we'll talk about that later. All right, let's just dive right in, I guess. Yeah,
let's do it. Dive on.
Let's fucking do it. So first, let's just get this out of the way, because some of you will care and some of you will not give a single shit. You can follow us on TikTok, which we are slightly more active on again. Mm-hmm. Twitter, Facebook. You can follow us on all those things at the Cynical Nerd. YouTube, that's where we post all the video episodes of the podcast. This one should be going up tomorrow morning. We try to do like 9 a.m. the following day after we record, if all goes well. And then I'm trying to pull the reviews out into their own individual videos. Now, that's not going to be the case this week because we're kind of just talking about a series update. Yeah. And that's not really pull-out worthy. That's pull-out worthy. Episode 106, pull-out worthy. Not really pull-out worthy. But, that's the overall trend. You can email us at questions@thecynicalnerd.com. If you want to ask us a question, I actually have to check that, so I'll find some time while you're talking about one of these various topics to take a look and see if anybody asks us anything silly. If you want to tell us we did something wrong, it's really easy. You just tweet at us and you do hashtag #FuckTCN, and we'll probably
argue with you.
Yeah, we'll probably get defensive and ruin any goodwill you had towards us.
Like if you followed us after that whole interaction, you will unfollow us almost certainly.
Yeah.
We're not cool about things, you know.
Our Buttfuck Brothers TikTok clip got decent views already, so we're out there butt fucking.
Got a lot of butt fuckers. Hey, fellow butt fuckers. We just changed the name of the podcast right on the spot.
Hey, fellow butt fucker.
It's Buttfuck Hour.
Yeah. Sounds like something Adam Carolla would host.
Right.
All right, jumping right in to the casting news. We'll get that out of the way. They've announced a ton of people for Superman Legacy, and there were some concerns with that news, but we'll go through it. So Warner Brothers Discovery announced 3 new additions to the cast last Tuesday night. There's Isabella Merced as Hawk Girl, Eddie Gathegi as Mr. Terrific, and Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner. Nathan Fillion of Firefly fame, who played I don't know what the guy's name was in Guardians 3, had the hilarious side part there. Ironically, has voiced Hal Jordan in a lot of DC animated stuff in the past, so it's cool that he's going to be cast as that. And on top of that, a separate announcement came out that the star Anthony Kerrigan from Barry, the guy with alopecia, no hair anywhere, he's cast as Metamorpho, who's feels like a super hardcore James Gunn pick, and I'll explain what I mean by that in a minute. As for the other ones, the reason I wanted to talk about it at all was some people were messaging him and going like, hey, this seems like a lot of characters for a Superman movie. Is like the plot going to revolve around Superman? He said, and his answer was, yes, this is very much a Superman and Lois story. However, when you talk about Clark, you have to talk about both sides of his life. So on Clark's side, we're casting, Jimmy Olsen, Perry White, all the usual members of the Clark world. And the same is true on the superhero side. This is a world where metahumans already exist. They're not doing the Henry Cavill thing where he's like the first one to show up and then they all pop up. This is one where he's already got superhero friends and acquaintances. So it makes sense to have a Green Lantern, a Metamorpho, a, Hawk Girl, whoever pop in depending on what the storyline is going to be, which is totally fine as long as it doesn't get over cluttered.
Yeah. I love Nathan Fillion. And the thing is, everybody does that. I love people whose entire career is based on the fact that people just like them, not like as a person. Like the biggest example of that is Keanu Reeves, who can't act for dog shit.
He's horrible,
but you just pretend you're just like, no, you're good, you're fine, you're doing a good job.
He lost how many people to cancer? Oh, okay. Yeah. You can.
But Nathan Fillion, well, he's a very talented dude. I'm not saying he's his acting. There's no merit there whatsoever, but I feel like people, it's just like, Nathan, I love that fucking guy. That's mainly what people said. Not like, ooh, I can't wait to see his performance, which I'm sure will be great. But and the other guy, you said his name, and I should not be referring to him as the other guy before I like dote on him. But from Barry,
Anthony,
excellent dude. And I feel like he was always great in Barry, and really in the last season, like absolutely knocked it out of the park with his acting. And I remember thinking, man, I hope that like the fact that this guy has alopecia doesn't prevent him from getting more, like being the guy with no hair from Barry, like makes him not get more work. And so this is a great sign because he deserves it. He's an incredible actor, and I want to see him in more shit. Yeah.
The guy that's playing Mr. Terrific, you've seen before for sure, Eddie Gathegi. He do you remember the X-Men First Class, the guy who played Darwin?
Yes. That's yes. Him. Okay. Oh, yeah. Sure.
He's a cool actor. Mr. Terrific is an interesting DC character. So Mr. Terrific and Metamorpho being in here are two things that feel very James Gunn-esque to me. So I've never heard of Metamorpho, and I'm a DC fanboy. So a crash course for all of you out there. He can turn any part of his body into any of the elements. He can combine elements to make complex compounds. So basically, he can fly because he can turn into a gaseous form. He can turn his hand. He can actually, in an interesting twist, turn his arm into kryptonite because it's on the periodic table. Although he's a good guy, so he couldn't need to do that.
But
doesn't make sense, but could. He actually is kind of like super powerful in that regard, right? He can turn his entire. He's a weird superhero though. He's got an interesting backstory, and I think it's one of those James Gunn pulls where I'm like, oh, there's something kind of neat here. And as long as they give him a decent redesign, because his comic book costume is a little silly.
It's a little goofy.
Then he could be a really interesting character. So this is cool. I like this. I also like that Nathan Fillion was not cast as a typical Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, and that they still haven't announced like a John Stewart. John Stewart's a wonderful Green Lantern. Guy Gardner's the dickhead Green Lantern. He's the one that gets knocked the fuck out by Batman, famously. There's a couple Justice League episodes where he was just talking shit, and Batman just one hit cleans him out. And Martian Manhunter's like chuckling, like one hit. Anyway, it's a good panel. You should look it up. these are cool things. As always, there's a little grain of salt there that you don't want them to overstuff the film, but Gunn has a great track record with ensemble casts. So
yeah, I got to tell you something. I want to hit you with some juice.
Hit me, juice me.
I don't want to like go too far off track here, but I owe this to you, and I owe this to Scott because we talked. He was still on the show when we talked about a lot, like Guardians 1 and 2, and I kind of poo-pooed on them. Well, no, I always liked Guardians 1, and then I said Guardians 2 had was mid or whatever. I feel like Guardians 3 makes Guardians 2 better, and like I watched 2 right before 3, literally the day before, with that. And I feel like. Not that it was necessarily always his plan for it to end up that way, but it's just a testament to his writing that he could take some of the stuff in 2 that I felt was tacked on or like artificial, and then make it feel more natural in the next one, to the point where like retrospectively you go, oh, that did make sense. I just think that that's like immensely. It takes a lot of skill to do that. I think that in all of the MCU, I think Rocket Raccoon might have my favorite arc. Like, I just think if you think of everything he goes through from 1 to 2 to 3, I think he's one of the more complex and interesting characters in the entire MCU. So I really appreciate I just appreciate James Gunn more. I think there was a lot of like weird stuff with the DC acquisition that made me kind of poo on him a little bit. And he's got me back, you know, he's got his little gun hooks in me.
Yeah. I kind of can't wait to see what he does with Superman. I gotta be honest. I'm pretty excited about it.
I have this like euphoria, this Guardians of the Galaxy euphoria now. And now that I'm playing the game, which you bought for me, I love you, is, by the way, I'm about halfway through it.
Somehow.
It's very good. It's very, very good.
It's very good. I told you.
Yeah, it's a good time. So
the combat's like not complex, but it's fun.
It's fun. Enough is there. I just got to the point you beat it, so I don't have to worry about spoiling anything for you. And I don't care about our fans. Screw them. Where you like kill your fake mother. She's a very emotional part, and I was like, this game is hitting.
You can just sit there in the beginning and listen to that entire album if you want to on the Walkman.
Oh, really? Oh, that's pretty cool. I saw you could change it on the thing when you're like walking around the ship or whatever.
Yeah. I thought it was very cool. It feels like that game was made with a lot of love.
Yeah.
And it shows, and even like some games that try to do that kind of like, you know, intergroup banter, it's really heavily there for the first like 1 or 2 acts, and you can tell the money kind of ran out.
Yeah.
And this one all the way through to the end, there's just a ton of like, if you go talk to somebody, they're always going to say something new.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cool stuff in that game.
I will say this though, the one like criticism I have on it is it's not really, it's a criticism of most games. This is just also guilty of it. I hate when you have this thing where you're traveling from point A to B, where there's like, you know, like you're saying, there's banter between the teammates or whatever. And it's like before it can sort of naturally end, and you like walk into the next room, they just stop talking and the next thing starts. I'm like, oh my fucking God. Every time. God of War is another one, great game that's guilty of that. It's just like, time these conversations out so they don't have to stop before I walk into the next room. Just
Let me ask
to
you a
like
question.
Hit me with
Have you been closing the refrigerator door on the ship?
No.
Okay.
No. Wait, I think I did like twice.
So I started to notice that the door is open, and so every time I go by it, I close it. And I don't know if anything different happens if you don't. But
I didn't know if it was a fridge, that it's a fridge. So maybe I know there's like a door in that sort of central hub that's always open that I've been closing.
Cracked open. Yeah. I think it's a fridge. There's like something come out of it. Anyway, I think that game's fun. I'd like to hear about it when you're done.
Yeah.
And James Gunn casting people, doing stuff, making moves.
GG.
My biggest fear about all of this is that even though Warner Brothers has already laid out their 10-year plan, and they know that they have these other last titles to come out from previous regimes, that these last titles, because they're doing so poorly, Warner Brothers is going to get gun shy and like back off of the James Gunn stuff like that, even though like they know, and they've said it out loud, like these films are, and then James Gunn's taken over. The Flash did so fucking poorly.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know how Aquaman's tracking, but like audiences, you kind of shot yourself in the foot by announcing so early what he's doing.
Yeah.
Like I get it. They were excited. They're like, we want to show people we have a plan, but you have these films coming out that people are like, well, why the fuck do I care about going to see that? Like, And look, we watched The Flash again. I stand by it. I think it was a fun movie. I don't think it's perfect, but I thought it was a lot of fun. The CGI is god awful.
It's very bad.
Yeah. It was less awful in theaters. It is god awful watching it. But if you can get past that, which I know is a big fucking caveat for a lot of people, the movie was very fun. Samantha loved it.
I really liked it. Yeah.
She was like, that movie was great. And I see people like, retroactively going like, oh, the bag of shit. I'm like, dude, come on. It was pretty fun. Anyway,
no, and more than just fun, I think that it was like I said, we already did the fucking thing. Never mind. You know what I'm going to say. It's just atypical. There's no like, the big bad guy that we have to get. It's just I like that about it.
So
I don't know.
what I loved, and I kind of looked at her like, are you fucking dumb? And Samantha was like, oh, Dark Flash is him. And I'm like, that wasn't obvious. I'm like, the first time you saw him?
You're like, come on. And that's why she's gone now. You kicked her out.
Yeah, that's why. No, I put her in the hospital after she said that. After she said that dumb shit, I just beat her up. And now listen, future kids, Grayson, if I'm dead and you're listening to this, I've never laid a finger on your mother. She's the best thing that ever happened to me. Anyway, yeah, she really enjoyed it, and like watching her enjoy it, like she didn't get that. She was like, "Is that Nick Cage?" And I had to like explain the whole like that's where this comes from.
Yeah, but yeah, for me too. So
yeah, oh, true. But yeah, she was like, "No, I really like it. Was very emotional," and she pointed the same thing out that we did. She was like, "I liked it. There's like, it was just a story about him making a selfish decision and then having to realize." That's not how life works. Like you can't just have everything you want. And I was like, yeah, perfect. That's what the whole point is. It's not whatever. Again, like you said, we did this already. Yeah. Moving on. You know what is doing good in the movie theaters? Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1, 235 million global launch.
Despite all the syllables in that title.
Despite all the syllables in the title. And on top of that, because that was like a week old article, now that Oppenheimer and Barbie have come out, they both did massive numbers too. I would love to give the most generic thoughts on Oppenheimer. I will not spoil anything. I swear to you.
Okay.
I will do that later.
It also happened in real life, so it's like, what
yeah,
I mean?
No, I know that, but I also know how you are about spoilers. And when I say that, I mean, if I were to say something like so-and-so gives such a dope speech, I know that you'll go into that movie waiting for that speech to happen.
You know me so well.
You've literally described this situation to me. So I will shy away from that, and I will say more generic things. But anyway, I'll talk about it later. I feel like I have ADD right now. Moving on. Maybe I do. Guess what? Activision beat the FTC, or Microsoft did, I guess. So they paid off the right people. Microsoft is officially going to be purchasing Activision Blizzard. They will be merging. Activision Blizzard made a deal. Well, sorry, Microsoft made a deal with Sony to keep fucking the title no one cares about on the platform. I'm kidding. Call of Duty makes a ton of money, but I don't play it. And yeah, so more. And
now Overwatch 2 is on Steam.
And now Overwatch 2 is on Steam. It was a weird choice.
Feels like the end of the world.
Then again, I mean, Blizzard kind of really fucked up the Overwatch IP.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Like, let's make a second one. And we were like, why? And Blizzard was like, well, we're going to make a lot of single player stuff and you're going to love it. And then you're like, okay. And like, well, here's the multiplayer stuff. It's just like the first one with a couple extra maps. So that'll hold you over until we canceled it.
Yeah. Cucks. Got you again, you fucking morons.
Fucking got you again. Good thing it was free to play. Otherwise, could have had a reason to be mad. Yeah. We're not going to talk about the merger, though. Just know that they merged.
It has been merged.
It has been merged. Here's a fun factoid. Ubisoft has been talking about that new game, Star Wars Outlaws, that we discussed. Mm-hmm. And they said that those planets in Outlaws will be as big as entire Assassin's Creed games. And normally that's not a statement to like, but if you know the size of the fucking map for a game like Origins or Odyssey, then that's massive.
Yeah. But isn't that kind of scary because it is Ubisoft and they just make their shit so big and bloated and there's just nothing in all that space?
That when you say it like that, yes. But if you think about it like I'm going to in a second, optimistically, it'll be better. Well, I assume you'll have land vehicles to get around quick and maybe even be able to fly your spaceship in the atmosphere, in which case those giant maps might not feel so desolate and giant.
It's true.
Hopefully.
I really do, and despite that, this game looks great, by the way, but I do want to go back, and I started Origins, but then all these other games happened, and there's more games happening, which we'll be talking about later, so I just had to shelve Origins. I really want to do Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla. I just there's good shit in there. It's like overall it gets a little underwhelming at some point, but there's still solid games.
Yeah.
They just take up a lot of time.
They do take up a fucking huge amount of time. I've been kind of biding my time with video games right now until something new comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll talk about that a little bit later too. This is a weird little factoid. Of course, people have been peppering Christopher Nolan with questions leading up to the Oppenheimer release this past weekend. He said for a couple definitive things, if you would like to turn your noses up now, you can join him. He said he will never make a TV series. He will never, he no longer wants to make superhero films. And he did leave the possibility open to direct a Star Wars film. He said he declined to say if he would ever direct a Star Wars film. And I got to tell you, I kind of don't want him to. Just being honest.
This is the reason. The way you're saying that the whole time, I thought you were building up to going, and I'll be honest, it would be kind of cool. And to have you go, to be honest, I really don't want him to.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Yeah, I'm so glad that got me.
Yeah, you know what, though? I understand where he's coming from. And I feel like his thing is like, I don't want to keep doing the same thing. I know that I feel like I remember way back, like he liked doing The Dark Knight, but The Dark Knight Rises was something that he did as part of some deal where like he wanted to make some movie. And they were like, okay, but we'll only give you the money for that if you make another sequel. And I think that some people
Inception,
just like, I believe it was Inception, the one that he made the dealio for. But I think that some people just go like, all right, I did this thing and I'm done and I want to do another thing now. Like, I don't want to keep making superhero movies forever. So I can understand his reasoning behind that. But I'm not up to date on my Nolan. I haven't seen Sloppy Oppenheimer, so I can't comment on where he is at this exact moment in time and space.
He's in a good place. I'll tell you that much.
Okay.
It's in a tremendous place.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on. Hey, remember that thing we said that was going to be shitty in corporate greed? That Netflix was going to do? Well, it worked for them.
Yeah,
so
that hurts my fucking
they're going
feelings.
to keep doing it. Netflix paid password sharing plan has resulted in 5.9 million new subscribers. So a couple weeks ago, we talked about their plans to start tracking where people are logged in from IP-wise and boot people out and make them subscribe. And we thought that this might be bad for them. In fact, Netflix reported to their shareholders, different. We're not talking about politics.
Yeah.
They had reported initially and warned of losses initially until this sort of took hold. And it doesn't even look necessarily like that's the case. They reported the second quarter earnings for 2023 and beat Wall Street expectations with $8.2 billion in revenue and 1.8 in profits. 5.9 million new subs in the quarter compared to losing 1 million in the second quarter of 2022. I keep letting them get away with it, and they're gonna keep making money. I don't know what to say. It's just depressing news.
It hurts. It really does hurt. And their shows just keep getting shittier too. So now they just got more money to get shittier, which is it's just awful.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
What makes it worse is their content's been getting worse and worse, whereas like Disney Plus and Max are trying to reach profitability. Like they are not profitable yet. Netflix has 238.4 million paid subs. They are cash flow positive. So they actually are making the money they could use to invest in better content, but they're not. And the people who are still trying to find a path to profitability are actually putting the effort in shit. Yeah. I would even add Apple Plus to that list. I don't think Apple Plus is profitable, but they've been dumping money left and right into feature film releases. Who fucking knows?
Who
fuck you?
Fucking knows. fuck you, Netflix.
Just fuck you. Moving on.
Just fuck you.
Moving on to the trailers, just to, also as a check-in, we do not have any emails, which is okay.
That's okay. That's all right.
Okay. You guys don't feel pressured. You just go through.
You don't have to. You don't have to.
If it makes you nervous, other people in the room, just close your eyes.
Yeah.
Put headphones on. Sorry. ADD story time.
Hit me with
because I said headphones. My ear protection that we use for the range has worked perfectly. I told you this at the range in helping Grayson to tune out his crying little brother in the car. Those fucking double standard. Pro tip out there for any dads.
if you want to protect your ears and not hear your crying baby so that you can't go help them when they're in need.
Right.
Because it's annoying. Shut up. Oh my God. Just get a pair of those baddies.
They'll work perfectly.
Never hear that kid again. Or just shoot the gun without any ear protection. Then you'll never hear them ever again. Even better. Right. Write it down.
Never mind. That was gonna be awful. Or if you have a kid with the same neuroses as you who gets anxious when he hears a baby cry in the car, then that'll help out too.
Yeah.
Which is the same situation that I'm working with. We're moving into trailers. We have quite a fair few amount of trailers to talk about. The first one is a good little bit is a rated R film called The Retirement Plan starring Nicolas Cage. But it also has people like Ernie Hudson and Ron Perlman, people that you love, but they're not A-list. We know that.
Yeah.
That's okay, but they're all together in the same spot. So that's cool. The Retirement Plan was like somebody wanted to do like a Taken movie. And just get like Nick Cage. And I gotta tell you, that movie, it doesn't look like, you can tell it's not going to be great, but I kind of still want to watch it.
Nick Cage has this effect on me where it's just like, I'm not going to say will automatically watch anything that he's in, but anything that he's in, I'm automatically a little bit more interested in. Like there's just this like 15% stat boost to like interest to anything that he's in, and not because he's so good, but because he's so fucking hilarious. But I agree. It looks like a dumb movie that Nicolas Cage is going to be hilarious in. Is the best way to describe it. You
gotta put on the Nick Cage pendant. This is a 50% stat boost. Yeah, I mean, like, the best part is Bob Odenkirk had that I'm gonna be a killer movie. I forget what the fuck it was called. And he actually like got in like decent shape for it. Like he looked nobody. He actually got in better shape for it. He was slightly more menacing than normal Bob Odenkirk, which is not really. But you can tell like Nick Cage just looks like a homeless guy. He looks like he looks like he goes to Fish concerts. You know what I mean? Like
that's what I was saying about Lawrence Fishburne. I just respect people who are like, yeah, I'll be the star of your movie, but I'm gonna look like a fucking pile of shit the entire time, and you're gonna pay me just as much. I don't know. There's just something ballsy about that.
But I mean, he's taking like 20-pound dumbbells and racking people over the dome with them, and some primal part of my brain is like, let's go watch it. Yeah. So that's where we are right now. This movie, did they even give me a fucking release date? I don't know if they did. This movie looks incredibly silly. It's called The Retirement Plan. And I don't have a release date, but it's 2023.
It's coming.
So
it's coming
this year. It's coming. Just like I am. This next trailer has really no business being in our docket. No right.
No rights.
But it's got like randomly interesting actors in it. Like Ben Kingsley is the reason I clicked play on this trailer in the first place, and then proceeded to watch it. There's a couple other like low key British actors. I think it's a British film. I could be wrong, but it seems to be. This movie's called Jules, and I started watching it, and like because I saw the thumbnail, which is what surprised me. And then about like 22 seconds in, just an alien pops up. Mm-hmm. So it kind of, I don't know how you're gonna feel about this, but it kind of looks like it might be this little indie heartwarming thing about them helping out this alien. I don't. It's like an old British adult ET. Like
that's literally what it is. That's what I was gonna fucking say. God damn it!
I stole it from you. These old stodgy British people who like have these homeowner association meetings every week talking about the bush height and shit like that. Fucking alien, and he takes them in. I don't know. Did you? I'm sorry for the left field entry to the docket, but what'd you feel about it? How'd you feel about it?
That's okay. You never have to apologize to me for anything ever.
Got it.
Just remember that in the future. If I feel that you've sullied my honor in some way, you can be like, you told me I don't have to apologize. You said it's like adult ET. It's weird. It looks fucking weird. It looks so weird. In fact, I watched this. We had to cancel last week because I took expedited courses this summer. I think I've said that like 9 times this summer, so I'm not going to retread that ground. And I had all this homework, so I asked if we could just push. So this was on the dock for last week. I watched it then. I rewatched everything else that was on last week except this because it was so uncomfortable and weird. I really hope the movie ends. I hope they kill the alien with baseball bats.
Oh, bro.
I hope it's a really sweet, touching adult E.T. and then it ends in the just darkest way possible. Like the U.S. military catches up and they're out of bullets. So they just get sledgehammers and break his fucking legs and he just pops into green ooze. That would be the best way it could possibly end.
So it's like Office Space, but with an alien instead of a printer.
Yeah, it's the best way to put it.
I thought this was going to be in the UK just solely because of Ben Kingsley. It's rural Pennsylvania, bro. It's in your backyard.
Oh, shit. That's where I live. It's literally out there right now.
Jules.
Old BK is back there running lines. I'll let him know.
BK. Oh, man. All right, moving on. I gotta figure out the fine line here because they keep these movie trailer companies keep hitting these movie studios. Sorry, it was a weird way to put that. Keep fucking me up because they'll release like a stinger or a teaser for a movie that we then talk about, and then like a week or a month later they release a full trailer, and that's what this is. This is The Creator, which we've talked about already. This is the movie that's like taking place somewhat in the future. It's, AI, humans fighting AI, that, it's post-apocalyptic. There's this weird thing going on with, there's a small child who's supposed to be at the center of it. We don't know the mystery yet. But anyway, the guy from Tenet is in it. I forget his fucking name. Mm-hmm. Cool director. This is the full trailer. And the trailer shows a lot more. They do a little bit of backstory of they show robots that are alive getting crushed in trash compactors, which is fucked up. Mm-hmm. It reminded me a little of what is it? The iRobot movie, but more hardcore.
Yeah.
Like a more dystopian sheen on it instead of the clean plastic robots.
I've been wanting to rewatch that. I haven't watched it since high school. I remember really liking it. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a couple robots just walking around, robots walking around with AKs strapped on them, very guerrilla tactics type stuff. It looks cool, but I don't really have a whole lot more to add than I did the first time, which is that I felt like they gave too much of the plot away in the teaser.
Yeah.
I'm interested in this though. It looks cool.
The aesthetic of it is very cool. I think I don't know if knowing that this is from the fellow that did Rogue One, going into it made me appreciate it more this time, but it just looks cooler now. I don't know. The second time around, I will say this: the song in the trailer is awful, and it completely takes away from if they put just a standard synthwave or even an orchestral fanfare type thing, the trailer would be so much better. Yeah. Yeah,
Why?
it's awful.
Why?
It completely takes away. You might as well just listen to it on mute, and it'll probably be better. But no, I agree. It looks good. It looks interesting.
Looks cool. Moving on. Gran Turismo. Now this is actually proper trailer number 2. Not a teaser situation like before, but we got a second trailer for this movie. This movie is based on the popular video game, although with a unique premise. This is not what happens in the game. This is based on a true story. This is the Gran Turismo prides itself on realism with racing sims. And there's kids that are very, very fucking good at that. Mm-hmm. They'll sit there for hours doing a race because that's real, which I don't get. It's like playing Stardew Valley. I don't want to do that. I don't want. That's why I stopped playing Animal Crossing. Okay, I don't want a mortgage simulator. It's a real story about this one particular kid who was in some trials. Some crazy marketing executive had the idea that because Gran Turismo prides itself on realism, whoever wins this Gran Turismo tournament in the game, they'll give them a shot at real racing. And this actually happened. There's obviously a dramatization of it. It's not going to be that sexy in real life. Mm-hmm. But we got a fucking Hopper in this.
We got J-Hop.
We got the dude that beat up Star-Lord. I always forget his fucking name. I actually really like that guy. He was the elder Shazam in the movies. It's
yeah.
It starts with a D. Whatever. Orlando Bloom.
It's Derek Ryle. I got it.
Demon Hones. I can't pronounce it. Dijon Mustard. That's his name. Dijon.
I actually really respect how quickly into that you decided to just give up. You retained your honor. I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you. Episode 106, Dijon. No, I don't. This movie looks like it could be cool or really dumb, and I still have not been able to like. My brain is still on the fence. Like, if something will happen, and I'll go, "That's kind of neat."
Yeah.
And then and the next scene, I'll be like, "Well, but maybe."
I think it's going to be dumb, and I think it's for one reason and one reason alone. The main character is British, and that's awful. That's the worst fucking thing you could do. The way that we make fun of the way British people talk, this guy really talks. He's like, "Me don't thinks me can do it." He has this like Cockney. It's awful. He sounds so stupid.
What if he got to the camp and Hopper's character was like, "What's up, colonizer?" Oh, man. I don't know. Yeah, look, if you're into this kind of thing, it comes out August 11th. Yeah. So it's soon. There's actually quite a bit of stuff coming out next month as far as entertainment. And then games the next couple months. We're going to be in a, what's the word? Deluge of content. A deluge. Folly a deluge.
Oh no.
It's evolved. Folly a deluge.
I thought we were done with that. I thought we made it out.
That's how it gets you. All right, moving on. Hey, Invincible, that cartoon series that we all really liked.
Yeah.
That feels like it aired fucking ever ago at this point. Season 2 is finally coming out, and they released say it with me, teaser trailer. Hopefully there's not
it's cheese to meet you.
Hopefully they're not like 2 weeks from now. They just released a proper trailer because you could have just waited.
Yeah.
But this was released at the San Diego Comic-Con. And I don't like it. Looks fun. I want to get back to that world. I want to see what happens next. I still have not done that thing where I go read every fact about a new anime thing. So I haven't spoiled this for myself.
Did you didn't read Invincible? You read Walking Dead. That's what it was. Okay.
Yeah, have not. So I don't know where this is going to go, and I'm interested to see what happens. There's a really fucked up line from our boy Omni-Man. I don't know if he's talking to his son or not, but he's like, I should have killed you when you were born, or you should have done something to some semblance of that information. Yeah, whew. And as soon as he said that, I was reminded of the stellar finale to the first season.
And that great voice acting. It was so good.
So
no,
good.
I'm really excited for this. I really liked season 1. This is another one I have to tip my hat to you because I thought it was going to be stupid and it ended up being very good. Very, very good. So I'm excited for it. The one thing about this teaser that was laughable is that at the end it was like, and now starring, and it listed like 40 names. And I was like, I don't know who one fucking person on this list is. Like it's like the whole like shabam of the entire trailer, and I have no idea who any of those people were. But no, I'm sure it's going to be great. Season 1 was great, and I just love Stephen Yeun is another guy. You just love him. You just love to love him. You show up for him.
You love to love him.
Yeah. I feel like he gives good hugs. You know what I'm saying?
What do you mean you didn't know any of these people? But Phil Lamar is on this. Ben Schwartz, Sonic the Hedgehog.
Maybe I just didn't read it too much then.
Callista Flockhart, Peter Cullen. There's all kinds of people. Yeah, cool. Good for I never really care. Like,
speaking of good hugs at the barbecue. No, this is totally derailing. Somebody said about Scott, they were like, he just gave me a great fucking hug, and I'm trying to remember who it was. I think it was my mom.
Oh, really?
I'm like almost certain that she was like, Scott's back? And I was like, yeah. And she goes, man, he just gave me a great hug.
Then why'd you ask me if he was back, dummy? You just saw him. Get your eyesight checked.
So if you're listening, Scott, you keep up the hugging. Yeah,
keep up the huggins.
That's a well-rated hug, my man.
Todd McHuggins over here.
the much more favorable cousin of Toddler McTutchins.
Todd McTutchins. Scott McHuggins. There you go. All right, moving on. Next trailer is gameplay. Well, actually, it's a story trailer for Spider-Man 2. Folia de Luz. This one is coming out in a couple of months. September, I think. Is it September? It's October 20th. Okay, very good. Now this just it reintroduces us to the universe and shows us what's going to happen. And there's still kind of a question up in the air as to who was Venom. I kind of at first I was like, well, it's obviously his buddy, Harry, but it's not 100% clear that that's the case. Someone pointed out that like in the teaser for the end of the first game, the symbiote like is not bonding to him. Like it's like the treatment's not working. So there was some ideas that like it's not him and that's like a red herring. I really don't know. I know that they didn't give a definitive answer. Can you remind
me? I think I missed something. Like, was that like, I remember that Harry was sick. Was that like they were using the symbiote to heal him? Did I just totally forget that?
There's a stinger at the end of the game. It might have been at the end of the credits where Norman walks into the lab where Harry's in like this floating tank. Mm-hmm. And he's like, he looks up and he's like, I failed you or something like that, but we'll figure it out. He's just contemplating to himself, his son's unconscious floating in a fucking Bacta tank from Star Wars. And like, right as he says, like, we'll figure it out, it like, there's a close up panel of like the glass and like the liquid in here. And you see the symbiote like touch the glass, but it's not like bonded to Harry that you can see.
Yeah.
Like, it just looks like that was something they were trying to use to treat him. I don't know. Right. It could still be Venom. They did go on record when they announced the game a couple months ago, not announced, but gave like a Craven reveal and everything a couple months ago that it was not going to be famously Brock, Eddie Brock, the typical Venom. They said it will not be him, which is fine. I'm interested to be surprised. I hope they don't do that thing that that Rocksteady did where they were like, the Arkham Knight is not Jason Todd. And then it fucking was Jason Todd, because that was disappointing to me.
I still gotta play that game.
I'm all about like Insomniac's kind of somewhat reworked like Earth 1 Spider-Man, where like it's the same, the characters are there, but the way they get to the points they're supposed to be is a little different. I really love that kind of approach. So if it's Venom but it's not Eddie Brock, I'm cool with that. I guess we'll see how it goes. I really love Miles, seems to be growing into his own a lot here. Yeah. There's a cool dynamic going on. I'm just excited for this game. I think it looks dope.
Dudes, the first one was so fucking good. And I know that we've sucked the cock of that game on this show extensively, but I'm going to do it more. It really is excellent storytelling. You have like the thing that's happening in the world, and then the thing that's happening to the protagonist, and the way that they interrelate with one another is so fucking seamless. And like you fight Doc Ock because he uses science for self-gain, and then Peter has the opportunity to save and he doesn't, and it's so fucking good. It was such a satisfying, cathartic, awesome way of making its point, and it was just like, it was so fucking good. I still haven't played Miles Morales. Fat Tony actually let me borrow his copy. I have to get caught up on some shit before I play it. I just have to. I have too much on my fucking docket.
Yeah.
But it's in there now. It's like it's moved up because this trailer looks really great.
Yeah.
And the gameplay trailer from a couple months ago, of course, was exhilarating. So it did get bumped up, Miles Morales. And I know that's a pretty short one from what I understand.
Yeah.
Which in this context is a good thing because I have overloaded myself with video games to play. So.
Yeah, the Miles Morales game is essentially like very, very robust DLC. Like it is its own game, but it's, it's as opposed to the base game, which was probably 30 to 40 hours or so. This one's like 15 to 20.
Yeah.
It's definitely shorter. There's a lot to do still. There's still a bunch of collectibles and stuff, but I really liked Miles. I like I've always loved his character a lot.
Yeah.
Dude, I to this day, I've talked about this before, so we'll not, dote on it, but it has been a while, so whatever. Here's a refresher course. I cannot hit play on that Aunt May scene without sobbing. It doesn't matter. I could have just watched it 5 minutes ago. It'll make me cry all over again. Yuri Lowenthal, who does the voice of Peter Parker, Spider-Man in that game, knocks it out of the fucking park. And like you said, it's not just the acting, it's the choice that they put in front of him. And it's such a Spider-Man choice.
Yes.
Where it's like you have to choose between the thing that will make you happy and the right thing. And it's just so fucking well executed. And like him weeping at her bedside is like, Aunt May.
Yeah, okay. It's next level. It's very good.
It's very good writing. It was very good. And if they can pull that off this time, we got Craven coming in, who looks like, he's just trying to do big game hunt, which has always been his thing. You got Venom showing up, who's awesome and a really, an equal in many ways to Spider-Man, a superior in some ways. But Miles is there, and Miles has very unique powers, but there's this cool thing going on between, well, I say cool, but I don't mean cool. I mean like interesting for storytelling purposes, thing going on where Miles looks like he might feel as if he's being put on the back burner a little bit, but then the Venom stuff happens and it looks like it gets worse because, I
think it's going to be like, like Peter is who inspired him to be sort of become a hero. And now Peter is obviously, being tempted by the symbiote or whatever. And so he's sort of using those lessons Peter gave to him back to, I don't know. I think they're going to do something in that vein. And I think it's going to be fucking incredible.
I fucking hope it's as incredible as my brain's making it out to be. Don't have any pressure. You just have to live up to my internal hype train, Insomniac.
No pressure, but don't fuck it up.
No pressure, but don't fuck it up. October 20th. That's coming out. All right, we got another Marvel thing. We got 3 more trailers, including this one. So this is for The Marvels. We've seen a teaser for this before. It was quite a while ago. It feels like at this point. This is coming out. I think there's only like 1 episode of Secret Invasion left. So
really,
which it feels weird because I feel like, I don't know. I still don't really feel like the plot makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, fair.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, spoiler alert. I'm still mostly enjoying myself because I like Nick Fury and I like when Marvel tries to do more down to earth shit. Now I say down to earth with a giant grain of alien colored salt, but you know what I mean. There's no Iron Man flying around yet. Anyway, so this is The Marvels. Carol Danvers coming back as Captain Marvel. This is technically the sequel to Captain Marvel, just called something different. And we don't know what happens, but we get a lot more plot information in this. We get there's a villain. I forget the villain's fucking name. She uses some power, intertwines their fucking. It looks like she has the other bangle, like Miss Marvel. She has a bangle that unlocked her latent mutant powers already, and it kind of like boosted her up. There looks like there's some kind of power bangle or something that the bad guy gets, and their powers become intertwined. They're all somewhat related to light. So Captain Marvel, they go through the whole thing story-wise, but basically the gimmick here is that whenever one of them uses powers, they switch place with someone else. And I showed this to Samantha, and if for no other reason than they cut the trailer to Intergalactic, I love the trailer. It's just very fun for me. I don't know if the movie's going to be good, but the trailer is very fun. It could be. It could have been
10 times better if they just did not use a remixed version of Intergalactic. I feel like the version they used kind of sucked, but I agree it did amplify it a little bit.
It just made it feel fun.
Yeah,
it was really what it did for me.
It was a good old.
It was a good old. One of the strong points of the Miss Marvel series was her family. She's a young teenager. She doesn't have tragedy. She has both her parents. She's got a rambunctious family. And so they obviously get introduced to Monica Rambeau, who's going to be Photon, and Carol Danvers herself. And we'll see. I really don't know. It looks like there's something, the hexagonal, I don't know what you would call them, holes that they use to do light space travel in the Marvel universe. Mm-hmm. It looks like there might be something wrong with that network of travel.
Right.
I think that's what Monica Rambeau was out there trying to do when she got fucked up. Which is an interesting concept, because if someone's coming to attack Earth and we can't get backup from all of our cosmic allies because that network is fucked up, it kind of puts you on an island. We don't know a ton about the movie, although obviously we know Fury survives Secret Invasion because he's back on that Saber space station in this, assuming it takes place after that show. But fun song, decent trailer. I don't know nothing else about it.
Brie Larson is super hot.
She is very hot.
I know that you shouldn't reduce people down to that.
She is gorgeous.
She's very talented.
She's got a really
she's so fucking good to look at.
Is it a symmetrical face? I don't know what it is. Her face literally looks like
she has a good face.
Yeah, it's like someone chiseled it out.
I would call it a good
marble.
face. TM is how I would. She has great pair of tits too. I'll say that much.
I wasn't gonna go.
That's as misogynistic as I'll get. I got my dues in. I paid my.
You know what it is? She's got a good, a strong jawline, and I know that's not typically something you associate with a beautiful woman, but it works really well for. She's just a gorgeous human being. Good for her.
Yeah, keep it up.
Lucked out on the genetic lottery.
Also talented too, but we don't need to. You know all that shit.
Yeah.
We don't need to cover that. We're talking about her tits right now. That's what we're talking about. Just kidding.
I forgot that she was in that band in Scott Pilgrim. And it was on TV for some fucking reason, and I was like, "Holy shit, Brie Larson!"
Yeah,
hot back then.
You know why you forgot? It's before she got the boob job. I'm kidding. It's a joke. It's just I'm doing a bit. Very, very talented actress.
The bits are Bob's. And all right, moving on. That's coming out November 10th. We'll see if it's good or not. Remember the first one got like review bombed by a bunch of basement dwelling incels that just hated it because it was a lady.
Oh, I just thought it was a weak movie though. I don't know. I didn't think it was. No,
and that's a fair basis to do it. But I literally remember people like getting angry about.
Oh, because she's like an outspoken feminist, and people don't. Yeah, I do remember that now. I know what you're referring.
And it was fucked up. Yeah. Like, yeah, sure, the movie might have been mid, but like, let me call it mid on the merits of the film. I don't want to say I have anything in common with these fucking idiots. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. We got a cool trailer here. Armored Core. Fires of Rubicon.
We got a story for this trailer.
We got a story trailer, and this trailer is sick. Now, if I'm not gonna fuck this up, looks like there's a big kind of like embattlement or like a base, and there's a couple of these mechs that go in on basically a suicide mission to take out this gun, and they succeed. The final guy gets super fucked up, and like near to death. And it looked like they were like transferring his consciousness into a battle bot at the end. Is that like what they were doing?
So that's I looked into the lore way back when they first announced it. And that's kind of like Armored Core. Did you ever play any of them? I played very little, but so I don't know anything about the backstory. I never beat one. I never came close to beating one, but so I was interested. I looked into it. It takes place in a future where basically, it's people have been reduced to there's sort of like memory units, and so like every time that you die in a mech, the idea is your armored core is like transmitted back to some computer base where you're put into another robot, and it's sort of so
clever respawn mechanics.
Right. So I think that's what was going on. I don't know if that dude that was like covered the entire time was controlling that last one that self-sacked, or if it was like you said, like just a totally separate thing, like his consciousness was just finishing being uploaded into this mech. But either way, the atmosphere and mood and tone of this trailer, it like just gave me goosebumps all over it. It's so fucking Goofbumps.
Just when something
super silly.
Goofbumps.
Is it just me, or do you have goofbumps?
I'm making that the episode title. I'm sorry. Right. I just like that it's called Goofbumps. I'm a child, and it's just fun to say. So I'm
very excited for this game. Comes out in a couple weeks.
Yeah, it's close. There's a super sick shot around like 250, 255 in this trailer where the mech is broken and in the rain, and there's fires raging behind it. And the rain coming down on it just looks incredible. Like you said, the mood and the atmosphere in this trailer is just really sick. And there's a scene where it's like fighting this big machine, and it like jams its fucking machine gun into this like weak point, and it's just going off. And the dust kind of settles, and like they zoom in on the shot of like the end of the Gatling gun, and they're kind of like bent and like red hot. And the imagery is just fucking chef's kiss. Like it's really so great. Cool.
He has like an energy shield in the beginning that just gets totally cleaved off of his fucking body. Oh, I can't wait for this fucking game.
August 25th. It's a month away.
Oh my God. I have to beat at least
it's 2 of the games a month. Well, you'll beat Guardians within another day or two, depending on how much time you put in. It's not a super long game. All right. Last trailer. I put it in today, and it might have been a mistake. Gen V, which is a play off the popular term Gen Z, is a spinoff of The Boys. We've talked about this a couple of times when it was in development, of mostly how you thought it was a bad idea. I was kind of on the fence. I was like, this could be cool. It could be a cash grab. It could be shit. Based off this trailer, it's going to be a cash grab, but it's going to be shit. But I figured we would talk about it anyway, because this just came out. The problem with this trailer is I need to know a little bit of like what's driving the plot, and I feel like I know nothing.
Yeah.
They show you a bunch of like fighting, but I don't know what they're fighting or who they're fighting or why they're fighting. I don't know like what the big bad is, if there is one. I just don't know what the fuck is going on. There's some gross shit in it, but like that only gets you so far. The Boys works because it's got a good story and it's got cool shit in it.
That's what I was going to say. I think that what makes The Boys so cool is you have great actors with like a really interesting narrative, and then you throw like over the top gory shit that makes you go, whoa. It's kind of like it adds to this appeal to it.
I feel like we were Wayne's World right there.
It's scraping off the most like base element of The Boys and just making a show out of that. And it's like,
with like teenage angst.
Right. Like The Boys isn't cool because of that. It's just like an additional thing that makes it a little bit more fun to watch the story as it unfolds.
Yeah.
This just came across as like trying hard to be like edgy and gross and yucky and I made his dick explode. Like I don't know. I don't think so. This ain't it, sheaf.
This ain't it, sheaf. Yeah. This comes out September 29th. Look, as of right now, I'm kind of not interested, but I'll keep my ears out for how the reviews are, and if it's getting some good word of mouth, I'll take keep me.
What does that mean?
They call me the Richter scale, baby. I don't know
all of that. All baby was a part of the Richter scale, baby.
They call me the Richter scale, baby. Yeah, not like baby as in your baby. Like I'm the Richter scale baby.
He's the Richter. It's 3 words.
Yeah, Richter scale, baby.
Yeah, Richter scale, baby.
The RSB. All right, moving on. We're done the trailers. That's it. Heboshed. We're moving on. So we're only talking about Secret Invasion today for our main topics, which means we're almost done already, which is lovely because I have alcohol to drink and same. Games to play and all that kind of stuff. So Secret Invasion is on its penultimate episode. I've actually, like, despite my earlier kind of jab at like the plot not being super clear, I'm still kind of enjoying the show. I like the tone of it a lot, which has not faltered so much. I guess I can't really give it a grade until we finish it this week, until we finish it Wednesday, because as of right now, there's a lot of plot threads and I don't know where it's going. There's the interesting notion. And this actually gave me vibes of earlier Marvel, like background set dressing. There's this interesting plot notion that the battle for Earth, which was Endgame, afterwards, Fury, because there's a lot of blood spilled, went around with some undercover Skrulls and collected superhero blood samples, almost as like a backup plan. Now, why I think this has echoes to earlier Marvel stuff is because it's Fury doing shit that he didn't get permission for. He didn't ask anybody. And when they find out, everyone's going to be mad at him. But he's probably got a good reason for it. However, Gravik is looking for this. They refer to it as the Harvest, which is a silly name, but, MacGuffins. MacGuffin's going to MacGuff. Sorry.
That's okay. That's all right.
My brain this is how stupid my brain is. I said MacGuffin's gonna MacGuff, and my brain went straight to Scruff MacGuff.
Right.
Take a
Chicago,
bite out of
Illinois.
Story. Yeah.
60652.
Yeah. Anyway.
Look that shit up.
The penultimate episode was underwhelming because there's a suit up scene for Fury, which I admittedly watching him put an eye patch on was cooler than I expected. Mm. He's got a nice complicated relationship with his wife that I appreciate. It's not super black and white, but I don't know where this is going. And I don't know if I'm going to care when it does. And I won't know until we finish it. So I'm kind of, my review, so to speak, TM is kind of in limbo still.
Yeah. I like this show. I think that it's one of the, I don't really know how to describe this, and hopefully you can kind of help me work it through. I feel like it has the best presentation of the Marvel shows that we've seen. There's this sort of like griminess to it, or like natural lighting. Like I don't know. It just looks like I don't know. It just has a good feel to it. It's not all bright and colorful with these like neatly tailored costumes, and it's a little more like just real.
Gnarly,
it's like rooted or something. Which I like. I think that it works really well for it. And I think that like the sort of tone, like visual tone of a show is important. You take something like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which is pretty much the inverse. It was so superhero-y. It felt so like, I don't know, it was just hard to get into. But this has the opposite of that. I just feel like there's something about the way it looks, the sets, the costumes, the lighting, the editing, everything. It just looks good. I'm the same way. Like, I don't know if the story is interesting. There are things that I like about it. I like that they're going for a political thriller type thing. I like that they're like touching on shit we said about episode 1 that like you'd never think Disney would, like fucking global terrorism is like a very touchy thing and has been for a long time, and they're using it as a plot device with respectfully, I think. But there's stuff about it I don't like. I hate that the Skrulls thing is we want to make our powers more powery. Like, I just hate that that's the goal. Like, we want to take the thing that makes us not human and make us more not human. It's just so like, remember, I think that you had said something about the early Marvel films where it's like the antag was always just like the anti-protagonist. It was just like fucking their superpower, but just evil. I feel like this is in a similar vein. It's just like, oh, our whole goal is to just make our powers be stronger, and then we'll be better. It's like you can already transform. Like, isn't it interesting enough that you have people that can integrate into a fucking society and just like heal themselves? Like, isn't that enough? Can't you just work with that? We're going to make ourselves more alien-y. I just hate that that's like their goal. I don't think Gravik is the most believable villain, but that made the last episode cool because he kind of had a mutiny on his hands. So I was like, when he was doing all this fucked up shit, I'm like, hasn't this guy kind of lost the forest for the trees? Like, isn't this getting sort of unbelievable? And, not to put too fine a point on it, but like comic book villainy. And then some of his followers questioned him and he killed him. So it's like, all right, well, that makes sense. They feel that way in universe, and he's a dick and he's losing sight of the mission, and it's clearly just a revenge thing. So, I agree though. I don't know. It's very, we'll just have to see with the last episode. I would recommend at this point, I would recommend this show.
Yeah, I agree.
But the Marvel shows have a really good knack for fucking it up on the last episode. So
yeah, they do.
We'll see what happens.
We'll see. We'll see if you ruin it. Don't do it. Okay, I'm done.
Don't you do it.
Yeah, I agree. And also, before we go, I wanted to just briefly touch base. We've both been playing Final Fantasy 16. I've almost completely fallen off of it. I have just been, I just when I go to play a game at night, I haven't had the urge to turn it back on, and I want to go back to it. I will. I assume you're getting pretty far in it, and I just had to ask, as someone who like my main reason for kind of falling off on it is that as much as I enjoyed the combat early on, it all started feeling really samey really quickly. Mm-hmm. And aside from like the big crazy set pieces, it just the moment to moment stuff was not doing it for me. Is it just kind of the same, or does that? Do you just not feel that way at all? It could be
no, I can understand. It basically, this is a thing a lot. I feel like with Japanese games. Japanese games have these huge pops where like something happens and it's like, holy fucking shit! It like blows your socks off, and then there's this cooldown period that is just so mismanaged and takes all, like, I understand things get exciting, and for the next thing to be even more exciting, you have to bring the tone down and then you blow it back. Like, I get that. That's a part of writing, but like, there has to be some interest maintained in that, like, in between period. The combat, I had read this actually before I even bought it, that people said that it does start to feel a little stale. And I don't entirely disagree with that. They find ways of jazzing it up. I think you've gotten to the point where you got your first, like you fought Garuda, right?
Yeah.
And you got her abilities. So like you keep getting new abilities that have different ability trees that like you unlock like a parry at one point. So you can feel like you're in Dark Souls. It's like, there's little knickknacks that make it a little bit more interesting. And then you can mix and match the abilities of the different things. So it does get a little bit more versatile. But at the end of the day, you're primarily mashing attack. I mean, that's the game. It's Devil May Cry more than Final Fantasy.
Right. I felt like I fell into a loop of like, whatever. I have a couple random go-to combos that are good for like closing the gap and attacking and blah, blah, blah. And then I would wait for a stagger window and just do as many of the special abilities as I could, and swapping between the, different types. I have 3 now. I have the electric stuff too.
Okay. Yeah.
I forget exactly where I was last time I played, but I know that I got that far. Oh, right, because what's his name? Sid died, right? Which is sad, very sad.
Yeah.
And these big bombastic parts, I do like. It's just that I like they're over, and like you said, then I'm like, all right, well now you got to go through all these and it kind of gives me the same feeling, and this is completely unrelated, except for in property, that the Final Fantasy MMO, which is 14, I believe.
Yeah.
Gave me. Where you finish the when I played it, I was like, all right, I want to give this a solid shot. My buddy wouldn't shut the fuck up about it. I'm like, I'll level to max, which at that point had like 3 expansions out. And I got to the max level for the first expansion, and I'm like, yeah, let's jump through, like Dark Portal me, baby, like get me right into the next shit. And you can't do that. There was post-release content for the base game. There's like 120 fucking quests that are story quests, and you have to go through them.
Yeah.
Before you can touch the new content. And the whole time I was like, this is the worst feeling I've ever had playing. Like, you're actively keeping me out of the new content.
Yeah.
I'm level like 62 now, and I'm still not in your fucking next expansion. Now, to give them a bone, they've fixed that since. They've condensed and removed a lot of that extraneous shit. But I played through it when it was there, and it was fucking awful.
Yeah, that sounds terrible.
And it feels like, I'm not saying that 16 does the same thing, but you're like, oh, super awesome set. I fought the fucking dragon, and I got the electric pin. I was like, this is all crazy. And I'm like, oh yeah, now you're just back at camp, and there's like a bunch of mundane shit they want you to do, but you like have to do it to move the story forward. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll pick up fucking 3 plants for you. Like, what is this?
Yeah. My recommendation is if you pick it back up, and you should, because the parts that hit really do fucking hit. I mean, these are like some of the most fun I've had and the game is like trivially easy. It's not a difficult game, but the boss fights are so bombastic and over the top and like fun. I did one last night.
They're very fun.
I can't tell you a fucking word about it, but it was so, dude, I was like literally jumping out of my seat. It was so awesome.
Boss fights are very fun. I'll give it that.
It's some of the best boss fights that like I can think of playing in recent memory. Like I'm like up there with like as memorable as like shit from Elden Ring and Dark Souls 3. I mean, just really, and again, it's easy. Like it's not, none of it's difficult. You always beat them the first try, but oh my God, dude, it's so good. They have really, it's not an RPG. It's an action game. Some people can't get over that hump. All of the DNA of Final Fantasy is here, in my opinion. Like other than the gameplay, it's not turn-based, obviously, but I mean, like, it feels like the games that I grew up with. My recommendation would be, I'm playing all the side quests. I don't know if I'm going to 100% the game, but I want to do all the quests.
Yeah.
If I ever play it again, I'm just doing main story, because the side quest, some of the main story quests are mundane, and all of the side quests are mundane. And so like you might as well just do the mundane stuff that you have to do. Right. So you don't get burnout on all the shit that you don't have to do. And the rewards that you get from some of them are pretty good, but 9 out of 10 times you're getting like 100 experience when it's like 40,000 to your next level. It's like, okay, that was totally meaningless. So that would be, if you pick it back up, I would just do main story. I think that's really all you need. But holy shit, I'm actually going to play more tonight when we're done, because holy fuck, it's really excellent. And I'm getting close to the end, so things are getting pretty sexy.
Sexy, you say?
Sexy with a G, 2 G's. Yep.
Hot. Love that. Anyway, couple things that I forgot to mention earlier that I'm remembering is happening now. One is DC announced 2 more animated films, Crisis on Infinite Earths, which is a iconic storybook line, and they're making a Watchmen animated movie that apparently is going to be based on the original graphic novel.
Nice.
Could be cool, could be shit, who knows?
Yeah,
I heard a rumor that like they have to release new Watchmen shit. No, not release, I'm sorry. I think they have a deal with Alan Moore, who historically hates Watchmen at this point. Like he hates everything about it. I think they have a deal with him that like if Watchmen ever goes out of print, the rights revert to him, so it's constantly in print.
Yeah.
Which is kind of shitty, right? But I mean, also you kind of let him get away with fucking murder on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I got. They're releasing new movies.
Excellent.
Yeah, cool. Oh, I wanted to give you very, very brief thoughts on Oppenheimer. I'll be super vague, I promise.
Appreciate you.
I'll start off tempering expectations. It's not perfect. It's a tremendous film. Watching it, I'm like, this feels like a tremendous work of art. Like I'm watching like a master filmmaker who's like top of his game right now, putting together a spectacle. And it feels slightly bloated at times. There's a couple segments of the film early on, actually, weirdly enough, where I was like, okay, this feels like kind of disjointed, and like, is this going to be how the whole movie is? Because if so, then I don't really know how into it I am. And it immediately shut me up after I thought that. I was like, maybe I was like, oh, never mind. That's awesome. if you know like just enough about Oppenheimer, like me, but not like details, then the movie actually has a really great story because there's some details in there that I did not know, involving the character that Downey's character plays and stuff with his wife and just the type of man he was. And there are some, and again, I told you I wouldn't tell you characters, but there are some really cool speeches in this movie. And just from, I'm not going to tell you who, because I don't want you to be sitting waiting on beta. Maybe just telling you that was too bad. Maybe now you can be like,
no,
where are all these
every
speeches
speech,
at, you
I'm like,
cuck?
this better be good. This is the speech. I know it.
No, it's just a great movie. It's a really good biopic that is not afraid to show you the complicated sides as well as the positive sides of Oppenheimer. And it was just a good movie.
I've heard very good things. I really do look forward to watching it.
The cast is incredible. Like incredible. And Downey knocks it out of the fucking park.
I heard he really is.
If there was ever a doubt if he could act after Marvel films, the answer is yes, undoubtedly. Emily Blunt does a wonderful fucking job. At first you're like, oh, she's going to be like a tertiary. She has some really good moments. It was really good. I would recommend this movie to anybody, hands down. It is a long film. I was constantly afraid the pee monster was going to cause me to miss parts of it. I did not go pee one time during that film.
Good for you and your bladder.
And my bladder, which was surprisingly okay. I was dehydrated, so I think I had like a beer before we went in, but it like just absorbed everything into my body because I was fucking. Really, really wonderful film. If you can see it in IMAX, you probably want to.
Yeah.
But if you can't, I don't think it's going to ruin the fucking movie for you. You know how, well, no, I don't even want to say that. Never mind.
Excellent. Good idea. That's always a good idea.
Yeah. Well, I was going to give you like but I don't want to because it would make you look forward to it again. The way the movie ends is like phenomenal. And, for me personally anyway. And, that's enough. That's enough generic descriptions of a wonderful movie. You should go see it. I can't wait till you do, because I want to talk about it. If you decide to like go see it in theaters, I would go and see it again.
Okay.
If you just wanted to go see it in like a regular theater,
I'll keep that on the brain.
Yeah, I would be 100% down for that. But that's it. I think we're done.
We're done.
This is the end of the Single Boys podcast.
Yeah, now we're gonna go get fucked up and play video games. It's
the same thing we would do if our significant others were here with our kids.
Right. But now we get to do it loudly.
Yeah, now I get to do it loudly in a silent home that'll make me sad whenever I think about it.
Right, exactly.
All right, cool. Where can everybody find you at?
They can find me on Twitch. That's right, you heard me. Twitch and Twitter. I am streaming from time to time. Dr. Glue MD, DRG, LOO, MMD. I was going to make the move to Kick, and then there's this rumor that they're bringing co-streaming back to Twitch. And listen, Mr. Bezos, if you bring that shit back, I will suck your fucking dick. Yeah. I'll suck your fucking dick. That's it. I didn't want to do the suck your dick bit for too long.
I almost want to make the thumbnail now Jeff Bezos, but just draw like a dick,
just like a dick slit.
A pee hole.
What do you call that thing?
I'm gonna do it. That's gonna be the video or the thumbnail for sure. I'm
calling my pee hole my dick slit for the rest of my life now.
My dick slit, my dick gash. Yeah, that works. Okay. You can find me on Twitch and Twitter. That's right. I also came back to the streaming, although I don't know how regular it will be.
Yeah.
At the very least, it'll be for Cynical streams because we're probably coming back with that soon. We don't have specifics.
Yes, sir.
But both Derecho and I are eyeing up Remnant 2, which actually comes out tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. We went back and played. If you want to go back and look, I'm not going to post it as a Cynical stream. We just goofing off. We're just goofing.
Just pulling dick.
Just pulling dick. You can go watch the videos from either of our channels, I think, from our last stream, which was on Saturday? No.
Yes.
Because it was not Friday. And it was a good old. We did the first Remnant just to kind of reacclimate. I like I told you on the stream, I only played 5 to 7 hours maybe. And it was just good. It was just fun.
It was a good time.
And if the second game is just that but better, then fucking I'm ready.
Yeah, sign me up. Where do I sign?
I don't usually tag things in here after we've done our outros, but I'm doing it. The Tom DeLonge Strat is coming back out, and it's coming out supposedly tomorrow. And I told you ever have something that like you shouldn't buy because you don't have the cash on hand, but you feel like you don't have a choice.
Oh, 100%.
Because that's where I am right now.
Too often, many times a year.
This was my first, what I would call like good guitar when I was younger. It was like I had the shitty Ibanez that I got when I started taking lessons. And then eventually my mom realized that I was going to stick with it. She bought me a proper guitar, and I was really into pop punk and Blink-182 back then. And I got his yellow single Seymour Duncan Invader pickup guitar, and I loved it. I used it for years. I used it until it was in my drummer's basement when his basement flooded and it got ruined. God,
heartbreaking.
And it was my favorite guitar, and they're re-releasing it. And I told Samantha, I was like, look, I don't know how much it's going to be. The original was like $600 when it came out.
Yeah.
There are rumors that this one's going to be anywhere from like 8 to 12. And if it's 12, I'm still going to buy it because
you should do it.
I can't not do it.
Yeah. You got to feed your ego. You got to do it sometimes.
That guitar holds so much nostalgia for me. And honestly, I've been writing music again because it helps to calm me down and keep me away from doing stuff I shouldn't be doing, like drinking all this beer I'm going to drink tonight.
Heroin.
And I'm having Sam smuggle something home from the hospital for me. That sounds so bad. If I was doing heroin, I hope I'd be a lot skinnier than I am right now. Okay, that's it. We're leaving.
That's it. Goodbye.
Just gonna leave you on that one. Folie à deluge.